Hello everyone, and welcome back to another G1 Transformers review. This time, as you can see, I'm following on with another one of my triple changes, and this is of course Decepticon Octane. As you can see, he's in his truck mode, which is obviously a tanker truck, so hence part of his name, Octane. He came with a blaster, and it's a tail fin come shield weapon sort of thing. You'll get the idea more as I go on with the review, how that's involved. I'll give you a look round his truck mode, which again is along the lines of an American semi-truck, obviously a tanker version this time, and you get a sticker detail on the back there denoting the back of the tank with the usual ladder where they go up the back. And obviously Decepticon logos and that up the sides. Not a bad mode, it's a little bit let down unfortunately by the sides here, which are his arms. They do protrude a little bit. It's a little bit of a shame they couldn't have sort of like squeezed them in so that they went in tighter to the cab, because other than that it's not the worst truck mode out of the G1 series. But yeah, it is a little bit let down by those side parts. As for wheels for going along, you've got truck wheels at the front, the purple ones at the back go round, but these grey ones are dummies, and you've got some little ones under there as well. But not too bad a mode, and you get rub sign on the top there, and a lot of chrome. His middle section has stayed really good, and I'm obviously glad about that, but his wings do suffer with chrome wear, and it's usually sort of like on the places around the edges and that, where obviously they rub, and right at these ends. And if I bring that in tight, you can see it's purple plastic, what shows through underneath. Bit of a shame, because like I say, because the top part has stayed almost mint, and it is a little bit sort of like, it doesn't spoil the figure because it doesn't stand out horrendously, but it's just a shame it couldn't all stay as nice as the top part. Anyway, that's his truck mode. I mean, you've got little details like the little truck exhaust at the side there. There was originally a sticker on his bonnet, but that's worn off over time. Unfortunately, I might have to retro label him at some point, and then maybe I can change these side ones where they're a little bit warm as well. But yeah, that's pretty much his truck mode. Not the greatest alt mode out of all of them, but reasonable enough. I mean, you've got to understand, back then in G1 sort of times, technology wasn't that great for moulding all these figures. So basically, right, to transform him, first of all, you've got to take off the middle section at the back. Being careful to take that off. It just clips on the two little hook connectors, and that sort of goes to one side at the minute. Now Octane does unfortunately come with parts that you can't include in other modes, and hence like this grey part and his gun, which is a bit of a downside on this figure, whereas pretty much most of the other triple changes you can kind of incorporate the other bits in other modes. I mean, Astrotrain's gun is another one that's the same sort of way, but most of the other ones are pretty good. You know, you expect to maybe have the weapons loose, but parts of the actual bodywork are a bit of a pain to have loose, and obviously these are bits sort of famous for going missing, as you know, people play with them and that. Right, to transform into his next mode, you've got to first of all bring these side of the cab section around, and at this point you've got to get the grey section sandwiched in between them as they swing round, and that sort of clips in at that end and sort of pegs in at that end, and then you flip the whole thing over that way. You unclip the sides of the tanker like so, and swing them down and out of the way. And then you've got to swing what was the back of the tanker round, and that becomes the nose of his jet mode. And then one part, and you're going to see me struggle with this through this video, these grey sections that hold the arms are a complete pain in the neck. Now I think for the minute they're alright where they are, so you just swing the arms out of the way. Then you've got to turn the back sections, the chrome sections of the tanker over, flip them over, and you've got to turn the arms down and round, so that the arms sort of straightened and underneath, and then flick that down, and that should sort of go underneath the wing. It's not brilliant, it takes a little bit of fiddling around to get it positioned just right, and you've got to do the same both sides obviously. And that folds down like so. Oh, the bodywork, where this section where the wheel is, that just pushes up, so that helps line it up. I should say that as well, because that keeps things straighter, like so. And then you just fold out these little tail fins, and there you go. That's his jet mode, which is obviously, I don't know, like a 747, something like that. Sort of jet aircraft, passenger plane. Again, no real offensive capabilities. I mean, you could put his gun in his hand, but then, you know, alright, he's got a blaster in flight, but you can't land with it, and it won't fit in the other way up, and there's nowhere else to put it into. And the same goes for this part. You know, it would have been nice if that had hinged and gone flat. Maybe you could have put it on the top or underneath to, you know, sort of help with the bodywork, but unfortunately they didn't worry about that in those days, so again you end up with two spare parts. Nice details again with the stickers, and obviously the same places you're going to get wear, hence why that back section wears. So I'm going to bring that into camera. Of course, it's because it's the wingtip and would be prone to sort of rubbing and that, where people, or I should say people, children of the time were playing with him. Obviously the same wheels, what were the track wheels at the front there for an undercarriage, but you've got little wheels what were built into the top of the cab, which acts as a rear undercarriage basically. But not a bad mode. You know, it could have done with a little bit more sort of colour. I know I'm missing a few sticker details on this which would have gone along here, which again, hence why I sort of need to retro labelling really. But not a bad mode. When all said and done, you know, quite tidy. He does suffer again, sort of like being a lighter colour plastic, he does suffer with colour discoloration on the plastic, but this one fortunately ain't too bad. But I've seen some where they're yellow basically. You've got to watch out for that if you ever buy one. Other than that, you know, relatively sturdy figure, no real places where he's going to go snap. And that's it really for his plane mode. Now to transform him to his robot mode, you've got to first split the tail, get rid of that grey part again, fold the tail fins back like if you're going to put them back into the cab of the truck mode again, and they all sort of tuck back in. Just leave that for the minute. You then flip what was the back of the truck mode, or in this case the nose of the jet, round. That swings round, and then you've got to pull it apart a little bit, and it's got a sliding bar at the front there as well. And that unfortunately is his legs. Not brilliant. Doesn't really even look like legs, to be quite honest, does it? But not the best sort of like representation is the word I'm grasping for, of his legs. But there you go. Next you've got to take the wings and swing them round like so, so that they're out of the way, and then the part you've got to struggle with, the grey part, you've got to swing that so that it comes round the opposite way to where it is. Now these are very stiff and can be a real pain. I've been trying to loosen them up a little bit before I did this review, so they've moved actually a bit easier than they have been, but that's it, they're in position now, so they're round to the front. And obviously bringing the cab down, that snaps into position and you get the head reveal. But that bringing those plastic bits round brings his arms more in line, and you can obviously bring them round more in line with his head. And then the wings can now flip round and go in a proper position of being out to his sides like so. So again, normal sort of seeker jet sort of mode, they'll have their wings out to the side. Quite good, you know, pretty good in that way. And that's him pretty much transformed. Now with all these accessories now, they can actually be used, which is weird they didn't bother in the other modes, because obviously it's a shame, you know, you can do it for one mode, why you don't do it for the rest. Obviously gun fits in to his fists, and the tail fin splits down the middle. It's got sticker details on the inside as well, and that can be held in his hand like another type of weapon or some kind of shield. And you can, with the hole in the back of this part, which was the tanker top, that can peg onto the side of his arm, and that becomes another sort of shield. So he ends up being able to use all three attachments. Now I'll bring that in, I'll just raise the camera up a bit so you can see him a bit better. That ain't too bad. I mean, it's a shame, just a shame of his legs, because he sort of leans forward a little bit. You know, you can sort of straighten him up a touch, but they don't really look very good for legs. It's a little bit of a shame they didn't have some kind of flip out feet, maybe spin that section around. But yeah, he's a pretty tidy figure once you get him into robot mode. Like I say, articulation, he's got elbow and shoulder articulation. I won't do it because if I disturb him too much now, everything will fall off. Head articulation there isn't any, but he does have quite a nice, if I bring that in, quite a nice head mould for a G1, and quite a little bit different from the standard sort of moulds. They picked out obviously his face and silver. A little bit of a shame didn't pick out the eyes. That's always something you can touch up yourself with a bit of paint. But yeah, it's quite a nice figure. I mean, it's great with the other G1 triple changes. You have them all sort of together, and he's bigger. Now, if I do the same thing I did with when I did Astrotrain, and I put a Cyberverse figure. Now, the Cyberverse figure wasn't a lot sort of smaller than Astrotrain. Yet when you compare it against Octane, you know, Octane's quite a big figure when you consider they were in at the same sort of price, the same line of figures. He's quite a, you know, a fair bit bigger, and that in another way, you know, he's quite a good figure to have amongst all the other Seeker jets and that. So it's one to pick up if you're seriously into your G1s. Trying to find one complete is a bit of a nightmare, or what isn't discoloured, but they are out there. Obviously you can probably get a reissue. They did obviously reissue Astrotrain, and I think they've done Blitzwing as well, so they probably have done Octane. But it's always nice to have one of the original ones if you can get it. And that's about it really for his review. Please feel free to comment. If you're watching one of my videos for the first time, please feel free to subscribe if you're interested in Transformers. We'll be doing lots more yet. That's about it. Thank you for everybody who has subbed, and I shall see you again for another review.